No G with a Z, POD, Smoking Guns podcast. Welcome in, everybody. It's a weird night. It's a Thursday night. That's not normally our night. We'll tell you why.
Leap day.
In a few minutes.
That's true.
I am Philip Higginbotham, one of the hosts for your Smoking Guns podcast. We are a podcast that deals with professional football in San Antonio. That includes the San Antonio Gunslingers of the Indoor Football League, along with the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL. I don't know, the United Football League. Are they actually going with United? Do we know that for sure?
I mean, it's a UFL. I don't know if it's United, but yeah, that's a good question.
What other word could it be? Like unique? No.
No. I'm pretty sure that's right.
No.
Utility football. I don't
Universal?
Your Universe Football League. There you go. It is the Universe Football League. That's what we're calling it. We hear differently. I'm joined as
United
always
Football
by my good friends, Leo Yamas and RC Woods.
Up.
What up, Gunslinger, Smoking Guns Posse? We're the Smoking Guns Posse. They've got Gunslinger Nation, and then there's Brahma Nation going on out there. That's all great and good. We are going to talk some about Gunslingers football. We got an opportunity on Monday. Normally our night to broadcast this Monday night, but we got an opportunity on Monday to go walk around the actual Gunslingers Nation.
Yeah.
Walked around.
A field trip.
We did. We had a Smoking Guns podcast field trip and got to see the facility. We can talk some about that. We've also got big news, exciting news for our podcast and for our friends up in St. Louis. The guys over at X-Fan Show, B-Hawk Live, have put together a sports network that is actually available on several different platforms and have invited the Smoking Guns podcast to be a part of Fuel Sports Network. So we are, and we're there. We're waiting right now to see if we're live on it.
So far, nope.
Not yet. But we are monitoring that as well. And Jason is going to be joining us. I'm sorry, Dirty. You guys don't know him as Jason. That's not his name. His name is
Who's
Dirty.
that guy? Yeah, Dirty.
He'll be joining us a
little
little later.
Guys, you also mean Amanda too, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Amanda too. Absolutely.
The whole gang.
The whole gang.
But let's start in the indoor arena, as it were. We did get a chance on Monday, which is why we're doing the show on Thursday. We had this opportunity on Monday to go out and take a look at Gunslinger Nation. We had Coach on 2 weeks ago, and he told us what to expect.
He did.
Was it what you expected, either of you?
To me, it was above and beyond. I know when someone describes something, you can kind of get a picture. Of course, I've never been in any kind of locker room or anything like that. So I went in blind with high expectations. And what I saw and what I experienced went above my expectations. It looked very professional, very high end. I've never been in a shower that big. I felt like I was like very, very small. I was impressed by the different areas, how everything was so concise and personal. I mean, it was very high end, very professional, top of the line. Just some adjectives to describe it.
It was. Now we have to be fair and we have to be honest. They are still in the middle of setting all that up, and so some of those areas are still a construction site. I mean, very much. You walk through and I don't know if you guys, anybody who's ever toured a construction site before and seen like the area where the guy laid his tools down for the day and walked away, planning on coming back tomorrow and picking up right where he was. There's some of that going on. But with a little bit of vision and a little bit of understanding of where we're going with this thing, you can see some really amazing things going on and some care taken to take care of players and to give them an experience, like Coach said, an experience like they're not going to get anywhere else on this level. And maybe even up a couple of levels, they won't get this kind of experience.
Oh yeah. No, they've got a plan in place. And it's like, look, I just went through a recent remodel and I've done this sort of thing before where you're taking something old and refreshing it and changing it to something completely different. And you have these ideas in your head and you see something and you look at it with that vision, and so you may see something more complete, or you may see something a little bit different than someone who's just walking in and you're like, oh, look at this and look at that. And, you know, if you envision it, and it's a work in progress in some areas, but I mean, it's expansive. There's definitely a lot of room in there. We saw, lockers that were being put in the locker rooms. We saw the facilities with the bathrooms with the extra large showers, for these big dudes that are going to be using the facilities. And we saw the training room with the work tables and everything, the equipment that's getting put in, and then the adjacent room where they have the industrial washing machine that's going to be put in there for the uniforms, and then the drainage that's already been put in and plumbing in place for those ice baths that are going to go in there. I mean, as it was being described to us and we were seeing the layout and the floor plan and walking through all there, even though it's not 100% complete, you could definitely visualize and see that. And just talking about it, you were just like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be something really special for these guys and these players. They're really going to take care of their players in this organization, like top notch for sure.
So there's 3 areas. I want to kind of take people on a virtual tour here. Since they didn't get to go see it, we can kind of give a description. And there are 3 areas. There is the front building, which is kind of the executive building. It's got your offices. It's got your
merchandise,
your pro shop,
your merchandise, your pro shop, all that kind of stuff is going to be there. A conference room. And then you've got the second building, or the back building, although I hate the idea of calling it the back building, but that second building, which is kind of player centric. You walk in and the first thing you get to is a lounge for the players. Again, this is all very in the works and in construction, but flat screen TVs planning to go up where they can have video games up, gaming tables, a place for them to sit and relax and just be in the space and kind of hang out. As you get deeper into that, there's the locker rooms, and you mentioned it already, Leo, but I was really impressed with the idea of, we're going to build these showers, but we're not going to build them the cheap way. And if you're a guy, or if you're any person, you don't have to be just a guy. If you're a person over 5'5" and you've ever been in a cheap shower, you know it, because they cut money on the pipe. I know this sounds like such a small amount of money, but they cut money on the pipe and it comes out about 5 feet up in your shower. And if you're a guy with any height on you, I'm not a tall guy, but I hate the shower that's hitting me right in the chest. And then I gotta, when I go to wash my hair, yes, I wash my hair.
That's a funny joke.
That's funny. That's a different show.
You have to lean down into it. Just a pain. They didn't do that here. They've actually built them. What would you say, Leo? 7, 8 feet?
Yeah, at least it looked like
seven
and a half feet at least. And then not just tall, but wide. I mean, I'm a big dude. When we put in our bathroom, I had it 4 feet by 5 feet, and people told me I was nuts by having a shower that wide. But I was like, hey man, I'm a big dude, and I feel it when I get into these little stalls that are just 3 by 3 or whatever, 3.5 by 3, and I feel cramped in there. I want a little room to move my arms around my elbows. And I saw that, and that dwarfed my shower. I'm just like, whoa, yeah, that's a big man shower right there.
Yeah, very nice. Cool. They'll have
and multiple
workout.
Yeah,
they'll have
more
a
than
workout
one
space. They're going to have locker rooms. You talked a little bit about them putting together lockers, open face lockers but still storage under the seat. Each locker has a seat built into it, and then a little area that you could store your phone, your wallet, that kind of stuff, and lock that up. 25 of those lockers going in. They got one built in there right now, but you can see. You walk around the facility, and here's a stack of 10 of those lockers here, just not
Mhm.
put together yet. You walk over
Mhm.
here, and here's a pallet of another 20. They're all around the facility. Outdoor, indoor, outdoor kind of workout room, weight room that they've got set up. And then you already mentioned the industrial washer and dryer so that they can do laundry on site. Don't have to send that off, worry about that. Guys, there's so many things that you and I, as fans, don't think about when you have a professional football team.
Mhm.
But doing the laundry for the football team has been an issue.
Mhm.
Was certainly an issue in year one. I can remember going to a game. I hope I remember the story right. Leo, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we went to Mississippi, they were actually supposed to wear different uniforms, but could
Yep.
not get the right stuff laundered in time. So they
Yep.
ended up wearing like the blue pants and the white shirt, which was never meant to be a uniform combination that they had set out, but they had to do it that way because of laundry issues.
I've
Um,
forgotten about that. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
so that's been an issue in the past for this team, and now they're going to have the opportunity on site to take care of laundry issues. And then the third area is going to be the outdoor practice uh, portion. They're laying down the turf that we've had for the last 2 years. That Quad City steamroller turf is going down out there. They're going to put a goalpost in one end, the end that is not right up against 410, um, kicking out toward the kind of neighborhood area. And that's going to be an outdoor practice facility. They're going to invite folks out for practices. They're going to
Mhm.
invite fans to come to the
Mhm.
facility and see everything
Yep.
as they get moved in there.
You'll
Bring
be
your
able to
chairs.
Yep, you'll be able to bring your long chairs, bring your coolers, and
Yep.
sit out and watch a practice. That'll be very cool.
And what I
Really,
liked
really
about it
cool.
is that it was right off the access road and easy. Because I know the other practice that they had in the park, you kind of had a park, and then you had to walk all the way around, and then some people had to pay, some people didn't have to. None of that. You pull up, you park, and boom, you're there. Easy breezy.
Yeah, we even talked. You may be able to just watch from the car and not even
Yeah.
have to get out of the car because the parking is right there adjacent to where
True.
that field is going in. So that may be a possibility.
The missions highlighter says he's watching both Dallas Stars and Smoking Guns podcast. Don't tell me what happens in the Stars game. I'm recording it, and I will catch up on that later. Uh, James Palmer chiming in. This is exciting. It really is.
Really.
It is a facility unlike anything on this level. Um, Most folks do things. All the teams, all the good teams, do things the way we've been doing them, where they have their own uh, contract with some indoor or outdoor practice facility. We used Sporty for a while. We used a couple of those places to practice. They're not going to have to do that anymore. Is this costly? Sure. Are
Oh
they
yeah,
putting money into this? Absolutely. But they're also going to save money on the back end because they're not going
True.
to have to worry about paying for all of that kind of stuff.
Definitely an investment.
Michael Wayne Davis, what's up, football family? Michael, it's great to see you. I was just watching an old episode earlier today on the Fuel Network, and one of your comments popped up, and I was like, "Hey, I feel like I haven't talked to him in a while." Mo Ferrante, this is something I kind of wanted to touch base with you two on, and our fans on, our listeners. Gunslingers have come a long, long way regarding facilities,
yep.
Mm-hmm.
and
True
no doubt.
statement.
No doubt. And I don't expect it to really stop here. Just think of where we were when all of this started. And so many of us were fans or connected early on and have watched this thing progress all the way through. Um, we've talked a little bit about the Rose Palace. We've talked about that recently. The Freeman Coliseum, brand new turf. I don't know that that's been talked about on the show. Have we talked about that on the show before?
I think we've mentioned it. Yeah.
Brand new turf.
Mm-hmm.
A top flight office and facility. So there have been Gunslingers offices before.
That's
We've
true.
been to all of them.
2, I think. This will be our 3rd or 4th.
3rd or 4th. It depends on, what you call the office right now. That first office that was over there, in the like North Central Baptist area.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We did a few shows from there. That's where RC and I went and met with players the first time any players were signed, and we met Caleb and Arbon Lott and all of those guys there.
Yeah,
and then
exciting.
they moved over to the Brook City area for a little while.
City area.
Yeah.
I think we did one show from there.
We did.
We asked when we were at the facility, we were like, hey, where's the podcast studio? Where's our office? Seems like they didn't have one ready for us.
Not yet. It's coming. I just see a little door up there on the 2nd floor.
Right. Yeah, where they keep the air conditioning equipment in.
Yeah, right there.
You don't need that. What do you need air conditioning equipment for?
Let's strip that out. Yeah.
I tricked you guys and got there earlier than you. And so I got to see the boss's office. I went up to James Stubing's office. He's got a gigantic, beautiful office with a huge screen for his computer. He's got like 8 different windows open on his computer screen, following and keeping track of things. Just a complete interesting facility. I was very impressed, and I know it's going to look even better once they get done with it. But I am just impressed with the way that the owners and the management of this team are taking care of this facility, are taking care of these guys in this team.
Yeah, it's going to be a key point in recruiting moving forward. Each and every year. There's always turnaround in these leagues, and getting players to want to come play for an organization that not only has goals for championships each and every year, but also takes care of their players and treats them as professionals. That is huge.
That is huge.
And yet, as I see more and more people roll out the way too early power rankings for the IFL, they consistently put the Gunslingers somewhere in the bottom half, just outside of the playoffs or way outside of the playoffs.
Let them hate. Honestly, think about it. Would you rather be towards the top of the power rankings coming in we're an expansion team, first year in the IFL, coming in, bring in, take away the influx of talent that's obviously there and the hard decisions that are coming up at training camp, take away the coaching changes there and the pedigree there, take away the ownership and everything, but still, do you want to come into a league as an expansion team your first year in there and then be ranked near the top of the power rankings by all the naysayers or the followers in the media that are part of that league or cover the league? I like coming in and being at the bottom and having to prove your grit and prove your worth in a league, and that's to be expected. If you come in and all of a sudden you're at the top, then I'm kind of worried about that league. I'm kind of worried. Well, that also, but I'm also kind of worried about that league. What kind of league is that where you're coming in as a first year and they're already saying, oh, this team's going to come in and just dominate us? That's not going to happen. They're not going to admit to that. Now, come mid-season, we'll see what they're saying about our San Antonio Gunslingers. I think it's going to be quite different.
Well, then you should be in hog heaven right now, Leo, if that's how you feel. Because the Blizzard Fancast, which is another podcast that deals with an IFL team up in Green Bay, the Green Bay Blizzard. Go give them a listen. I did this week. they had some preseason ranking. And I thought it was very interesting that they made a big deal about the fact that they have some inside information because they, like us, have a connection to their team, and that gives you a certain amount of information that sometimes you can share, sometimes you can't. We've been down that road before. And they also asked their community, the folks that follow them and spend time with them, to like weigh in on a survey. And they did that for about a week, and then they rolled out their rankings. And they both had a 7 or 8, which is middle of the pack. The community, the people who are not in the know, those people that are just fans of their team, also had us at 8. So we were riding right there in the middle, both. What I thought was interesting, and if they're listening, and I hope they are, they did say that the San Antonio Gunslingers were returning 12 players this year from their roster last year. There is no way
that's not
we
happening.
are returning 12 players.
No
way. I would be surprised. Leo, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would be surprised if I would bet on the under at 3.
That sounds about right to me. I was going to say 3 or 4 at most.
I was going to say 5.
But 3 seems like a good number. 5, I would even think might be a little high.
You think so?
Just of what we've heard, the names mentioned, and players that are coming
or not
in.
Mentioned.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, RC, I was going to say RC says 5. Philip and I are kind of settled on 3. We'll put it in the middle and call it 4. That's the consensus.
All right, we'll go 4.
There you go. James Palmer says, doubt us this season. Let them be shocked when we're playing in the championship. Not unheard of for teams to walk into the IFL and play for the championship. Massachusetts Pirates did that. Another team, maybe Northern Arizona. Another team did the same thing. Came in their first season and immediately made some noise. So not unheard of in the IFL. But I just thought that was interesting that they said, "Oh, they're returning 12 players," and I'm like,
"That's too
much."
No, guys, we're not returning 12 players. We're returning maybe 2 or 3 or 4, but certainly not 12 as we go into the season on April 1st, and we take on the San Diego Strike Force, who, by the way, is at the bottom of all of those rankings. Again, not that they mean anything.
We're beating them by 40, right? That's the current line from
Coach said something like that, 30, 40, something like that.
He started at 30 and then he went up. So there you go.
So is this our 4th year covering the Gunslingers?
It is. This will be our 4th season of Gunslinger football.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
I can't. I really can't. We have come a long way.
We have. We used to meet live. We used to have sponsors that we had to stop and take a break for and read our sponsor spots. And we do things a little differently now. And we're separated by my job, keeps us separated. We're not all able to gather together in a room, which I'll be honest with you, we're far enough past this now that I can say this. I kind of thought that might be the end. Like when I got sent down here to the coast and I knew that we were going to have to do this podcast over the internet, I was worried because we have always done better live than we've ever done online. But this particular setup that we have and the equipment that we use now works great. And I kind of like what our show has become here.
Well, if we're being honest, I do miss Loli's cooking, though.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I miss it. You may not, but I miss it.
It was definitely a new experience going online, taking the show online and doing this, using more technology than face to face and using the old analog equipment that we were using. I mean, it was digital, but analog, I mean, in the sense of, older style equipment. And we still have that stuff. So we are still capable of doing that. But yeah, it's a lot easier to just plug into the computer and then just go out onto the interwebs. We would not be able to be part of the Fuel network had we not had the capabilities that we have now.
Yeah, it would be a lot different. It would have been an extra hurdle to climb. This was so easy. We just plugged in where it needed to go and sent it out there, and that's great. Lily says she misses having us over. You don't miss me. I was just over there on Monday night. They Leo and Dolores let me stay in their guest room while I was in San Antonio for the couple of days. So you don't miss me because I've already been there. Raul Nava, you guys are the glue of the team and the community. You guys are amazing. Keep it up. We never set out to be the kind of historians of this project, but we turned into kind of the historians of this project. We are the ones who have been here through it all, and we've had an ownership change, and we've had coaches change, and we've had players change, and we've had the broadcast partners change, and everything around us has changed, and we don't know when we just keep plugging. So
yeah, we won't go away.
Like a bad penny, we always turn up. And so
that's a nice shirt you have there, Philip.
You like that?
I do, and it's long sleeves.
The very first long sleeve jersey from the Gunslingers. Yes, we got treated to see those when we were at the Gunslingers Nation. And Philip is sporting that. Very cool.
Very cool.
Sporting. You can't even see me. You just thought my body was you just thought I was a floating head.
You're just a floating
really
head.
Nice blackout hat. Hey, go get your Gunslingers gear. Go to their store. You can still buy things like your blackout hats, blackout jerseys are still there. Some of that stuff is discounted. If you did not get the fan jersey you wanted for, let's say, Superhero Night, they might have one now, and it might even be discounted. You might be able to go out there and get a hold of what you wanted way back in the middle of the season, and you just didn't grab it. It might still be there. Go grab one. Star Wars jerseys are gone. I don't see those on there anymore, but
I got this one.
Yeah, I've got that one too.
That's one of my favorites.
I was very interested today, RC, to see them pop up a call for an in-stadium hype person, but they very, very specifically said what they wanted. They didn't want just any hype person.
No,
they are making a concerted effort to make sure they have a female hype person, and I immediately thought of you, RC. Not just, I wonder if RC would do that, but that you would be so proud of this organization for saying, hey, let's find a way that we can plug in a lady and get them involved in Gunslingers football. So much of this is male-centric, and we know that, and we understand that, and football is sports is that way, but football specifically is that way. That them taking an opportunity to find an open slot and make sure that they fill it with a female is something that I know makes you proud. It's something
yes,
that
for
I know
sure.
You like.
And that's what a great thing about the Gunslingers. Like, I really was pushing the cheerleaders. We got the cheerleaders, right? And they make great role models, especially with how they dress and how they act. I was super impressed that they're specifically looking for a female with lots of energy, knowledge of football, energetic. So of course I sent in my resume, right? I'm going to be honest. But I saw a lot of familiar faces like Carolina Teague. I've worked with her before. She's very knowledgeable in sports. I think she would be a great fit. I actually reached out to some of the females who actually made it interesting. So I told them I would mention their names. Let me put on my glasses here. So 3 of the people that may or may not have experience is Salazar Lupe. Her husband actually put her name there, but her real name is Guadalupe Ortiz, and she's a kindergarten teacher, a pre-K teacher. So she was excited about that. Another one is Jennifer Lamb Mahoney. She said she was interested, and Mary Ann Lebowski. So there's 3 women that we haven't heard of, and we may hear from them again. And I was even thinking, because I don't know actually when they're going to do this, but maybe we could do like a little trivia game and have some of them who are trying to see how well they know sports. You never know where this can lead. I'm telling you. But all these possibilities. I'm proud of anyone who applies. That takes a lot of guts. We know that women aren't equally represented in sports, and just having this opportunity. So I'm encouraging. I'm liking everyone who makes a comment. I tell them, go apply, try out, go for it, because, hey, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, I just found it really interesting that they opened up that slot and they didn't say we're looking for anybody. They said specifically we want to find a female and plug them into the slot.
Yeah.
And I realize there's some folks out there that go, well, that's not fair. It should be open to anybody. There's so many opportunities around sports in general and around football particularly, for guys to get in and get involved, from playing to coaching, to doing things like marketing. And so when they open up those positions and earmark that for, hey, we're gonna plug one of our ladies in here, I think that's great. I've got 3 daughters, and I don't want anybody to ever limit their opportunities because, hey, if they fell in love with football, they didn't. For some reason, 3 girls that I raised did not fall in love with football. I don't know what I did wrong there, but if they had fallen in love with football and wanted to be involved, I would love the fact that there are teams out there like the Gunslingers making sure that there are opportunities available for them.
Right. And then I'll plug in Francesca. I said, hey, Francesca, you should try it. She's like, you know what, Mom? I love being an intern. I like what I'm doing there. There she is. I was just talking about her. Hi, honey.
Sure.
And so, thank you to the Gunslingers, because really they gave her an opportunity and she loves it. She loves doing that interaction, being on the field. So there's a job for everybody.
And while I don't know Francesca super well, I do know that she is so soft-spoken that putting her in front of a few thousand people with a microphone in her hand is probably not something that would make her comfortable. She doesn't seem to be the kind of person that wants to be in the limelight. She loves to work on things behind the scenes and make them go.
Yes.
She's
You
not
nailed it.
so much
That's
like her.
Francesca.
Not so much like her mom, who has no problem jumping in the spotlight and doing a dance.
RC? You talking about RC?
RC? Yeah. So we are headed fast towards the season.
Yeah.
We are just about 2 weeks out from training camp starting. And
can't wait for that.
Man, things are going to kick off. Literally, we're going to have kickoff on April 1st. Are you bummed at all that our first IFL game is not here at home, that we have to sit around and watch it?
Of course I am. And it's on my birthday too. So it's like, I would love to be, at the home, Freeman Coliseum, watching a home game on my birthday for the Gunslingers, getting the opportunity to see them wipe the field with San Diego.
Right.
But I mean, it is what it is. That's how the schedule worked out. We'll have to wait a little bit before we get to see them at home. But hopefully, when they do make it home, they'll come with some marks in the win column. I think that's not till their 3rd game, if I'm not mistaken. They're away for 2 games to start the season.
Now they're away for that first just game, one, and then they immediately come back home. And 4 days later, they play Northern Arizona, which is
almost back to back.
Here in San Antonio, or there at the Freeman Coliseum. So they made lots of connections. I don't want to share numbers because I don't want to embarrass. I don't want to say things wrong, embarrass myself, embarrass somebody else. But I did the math when James told me what we were looking at season ticket sales last year over this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it is something like a 450% increase.
That sounds about right.
Season ticket sales.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
That is.
So we're going to see folks out there, and we're going to have some Gunslinger fans in the building, and that's exciting.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I will definitely be. I'm waiting anxiously to hear where the watch party is going to be, and I will definitely be there on my birthday. And I don't mind people buying me drinks on my birthday at watch parties. That's perfectly okay by me. So
there's no rule against that. You can totally do that.
I'm letting everyone know that right now. There is no rule that says you can't buy Leo drinks on his birthday at the watch party.
Got it. Check.
That's it. That's on April 1st. Keep your eyes open for whatever watch party that the Gunslingers are going to float out there. We should have that information sooner rather than later, I think.
Yep. And then speaking of like, trying to get together, I want to probably next week have a meeting with anyone who wants to come and participate with the Gunslingers. You can be male or female. We're not discriminating. And really, we're just trying to get together, trying to increase the fan interaction, what we can do as fans. Maybe do some community work in there, but we're definitely going to have something next weekend. Again, just when I say meet and greet, it doesn't mean meet and greet the players. It means meet and greet each other. So when we do go to the watch party, we're not strangers. We already feel like family. And anyone can attest to that once you kind of get involved with the football family, and especially the Gunslingers, you really do feel like a family. Like you will miss them. And so I want to bring that back, and I want to have more people involved. And everyone does something, and we can do great things. We really can. And we really want to support the team. We want to support the players, the community, and football in San Antonio.
Absolutely. Jay Washington says April 6th is that home opener. He'll be making the trip down pending getting a ticket. Don't want to get a ticket through Ticketmaster. I fully understand not wanting to give Ticketmaster any of your money, but I guarantee you, if you want to get a ticket without paying Ticketmaster rates, I bet if you reach out to the San Antonio Gunslingers on Facebook, you can find a way to get that done.
Contact the team directly.
Don't give Ticketmaster any more money than you have to ever in your life. I do not like that organization. I do not like that company. And if you can avoid them, avoid them. I'm entirely sure for that. James Palmer says, Leo, both games for both of your birthdays are away, the 1st and the 26th. To be fair, James, the 1st, they're in San Diego. The 26th, they're in Frisco. That's an away game, but you can go to that. Like, you could go and be there at the Frisco Fighters game. And you know that because you just said Frisco Fighters game on the 26th has discounted tickets as well. So,
yeah, he sent us a message about
Thanks
that.
for the info.
And we got to get that put together and maybe get a little road trip.
How far is Frisco from San Antonio?
If I had to guess, I would say 6 hours.
Okay. I think that would be a bus ride away.
That's the same weekend that the Brahmas are up there playing Arlington. So it's on 2 consecutive days. So you'd see the Brahmas, I believe, on
all right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're right. It's the same weekend. I'm sorry. They're trying to correct me here. Michael Wayne Davis says, oh, it's actually 5 hours. Jay Washington says, oh, it's 4.5 hours. Look, I'm a father of 3 girls. I could make the trip in 4 hours, 4.5 probably. But I recognize and have been told that you need to factor in stops and traffic when you do this kind of stuff. And so that's why it's 6 hours. Look, okay, you ready? I'm going to get on a soapbox. You ready? I'm getting on a soapbox.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Done. Cancel Buc-ee's. I'm done with Buc-ee's. I can't stand the place anymore. I used to love it. It's a Texas institution, and I understand that. I get that everybody needs to stop and take their picture with the beaver and get their Buc-ee's shirts, and I understand all of that. But I can't walk into a Buc-ee's, get a tank of gas, and go to the bathroom in less than 25 minutes. It's crazy how ridiculously packed every Buc-ee's I walk into is. And I'm done. I'm just tired of it.
It is a black hole. It is a black hole that you get sucked into. And yeah, you walk out spending a lot more money than you anticipated every time you go in there because of all the snacks and goodies and everything they have. It's definitely an experience. I mean, but yeah, I understand I understand it growing old on some people for sure.
But on my way back home on Tuesday,
I was going to say, I want to know what everyone's favorite snack that they have to buy at Buc-ee's. So if you're listening, go ahead and put in what's your favorite snack that you get at Buc-ee's. Mine is the cranberry orange walnut muffin.
Multiple flavors of beef jerky. You can get beef jerky flavors that you can't find anywhere else. That's awesome. That's great. I do. I like so much about Buc-ee's, but I can't stand how many people are in it. As I was coming down back home on Tuesday after I spent a couple of days there in San Antonio, I stopped in Luling at Buc-ee's. I just had to. That's where I needed gas. It was time for a bathroom stop as well. I went in, I got a tank of gas. I went to the bathroom and I grabbed a drink, and it took me 40 minutes to do it. It added an extra half hour onto my already 3-hour trip just to stop at that gas station.
You can get sucked in there for sure. But I have to agree with Jay Washington, the Beaver Nuggets. Beaver Nuggets are pretty darn good.
James Palmer agrees with me. He says he passes right by, doesn't even stop there anymore. I get it, man. I'm just kind of done with it. I'm just kind of over it. It's just one of those things. But go to Buc-ee's. It's the Texas institution. Spend your money there. Get the Beaver Nuggets. Right?
So basically, it's a minute to get to Frisco.
It takes some time to get to Frisco.
Takes some time.
Sure does.
Yeah, and then 35. So
we all love 35. Sorry, I stepped on you there.
No, go ahead.
So that's our Gunslingers coverage. We've got more we'll be talking about soon as we get into training camp. But we're really excited, and you can see it on behind me right here. We are now part of the Fuel Sports Network. If you have a Roku TV or you use Amazon, what is it, Fire Stick, or what do you use, Leo? You just use Amazon TV in your room.
I have Amazon TV built in to a couple of my TVs, so no need for the Amazon Fire Stick. You can download the app on those televisions if they already have that enabled. The smart TVs.
Download the Fuel Sports Network app. That's FUEL. All capital Sports Network. You saw the logo on our teaser graphic that we put out earlier today. It's a little black and white football graphic, and the person that is spearheading that, one of a couple of people that is putting all that together, is a guy that I'm unfortunately going to bring on the show right now. It's Dirty, co-founder of Fuel. You can see it right there on his name. Dirty.
Always shaking his head. The negativity this man brings with him every time. It's already there.
You weren't
busy
enough. You decided to build a.
Well, when can I talk? I'm just waiting for the loudmouth over there in that corner to be quiet. So I was just waiting. To see when I could talk. What's up, RC? Look at you, RC. I got you guys on my projector in my studio.
Nice.
On my 58-inch TV right here.
I see that. So, yeah, you guys are on the Fuel Sports Network. You're part of the Fuel family. Oh, wait, look right here. There's the logo.
Cool.
There's the logo.
Oh, right yeah.
There. Oh, nice.
There's the Fuel logo. Look, I got my Brahmas flag right next to me.
Very
see that?
nice.
I like how I like
there.
it.
Brahmas versus DC. I'm hoping the Brahmas win, but DC was a tough team last year. So, yeah.
That was last year.
Throw everything out. Nobody
That's right. Throw it all out. Throw it all out the window.
New.
All
right,
of it's new. Every bit of it's new. We don't know.
That's anything. Right. So, where do we want to start? Oh, look, Jay Washington already starting. No, not Dirty. Well, we are building an empire. Here.
So, what makes you decide to spend extra time and effort on building a sports network? You weren't busy enough? You didn't have enough to do already? You decided, hey, I'm going to gather some shows that I appreciate, some folks that I like, and we're going to go into building a whole sports network with an app on both Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. What makes you decide to spend your money that way? or spend your time that way and your money.
Where do I start? Me and Arlington have been covering the now UFL, XFL St. Louis Battlehawks since 2018 with the XFL STL talk show. We built it in and, we were covering it. We were the first to do it. We were the first to do the grassroots movement here in St. Louis, with all of it going on. And as the progression went, our fan page started, the page started growing more, right? Then COVID hit. So we switched, changed gears, and then we decided UFL's, XFL's coming back. And there was other teams in other cities, like you guys in San Antonio. So I connected with you guys, some other shows down there in San Antonio, and showed you guys how to build that fan base. I didn't show you. I just said, here's how we did it in St. Louis. If you guys wanted to do the grassroots movement in San Antonio, here's how you do it. This is how we did it in St. Louis. And you guys, all of you guys took it and did it. And as the progression kept going, we kept seeing all of these other shows popping up and all of these other networks. And me and Arlington have been talking about this for 5 years. And we're like, where's our progression? When we're reaching what we reach on our Facebook page and the daily views, like, do we need a website? And I remember me and Arlington were on the way to the studio before COVID. And he was playing this game called TV Tycoon. Did you guys ever hear that?
No.
It's a mobile game, and you build your own TV network, right?
Really?
Yeah. And Arlington's like, man, I would love to own my own TV network. I'm like, dude, we should start looking at building a TV network ourselves. He's like, oh, we'll never be able to do it. So, of course, he challenged me. And like everything in my life, I've always been said I couldn't do something. People challenged me, and I found a way to do it. So I started researching it. I was sending him stuff. He's like, you're nuts. This ain't going to work. No, that one don't look right. And then I slowly just, like the hyena right here, says, dirty is like a little bug that irritates you. And I just kept chipping away at him. Chipping and chipping. If you guys know Arlington, he's a very beautiful, beautiful black man. And I love him. That's my brother. And I just kept chipping and chipping and chipping. And I finally got to agree to it. And then, so for the past, oh my God, 6 months, we've been working on this app and working on this TV network. And now it launched. And here we are. It's that simple.
Good job.
So tell us what fuel.
Doesn't sound simple.
Right, it's not.
Tell us what fuel stands for, because everybody sees that it's an acronym, FUEL. Tell us what it stands for and why that's important, why that was what you decided to throw on the front of your venture.
Well, hold on. It's not my venture. It's all of our venture. This is a family. This is a network. This is everybody's venture. So it's just not mine. It was just the crazy dream in my head that me and Arlington had that we put out. But this is everybody's. I mean, there's too many people to think. But the way Fuel came about is we did the charity event here in St. Louis over my birthday for Autism Speaks, where we raised $6,700, right? And everybody knows him, Ball Hawk 1. We all know who Ball Hawk 1 is. We decided, let's get a fans, all the super fans together. And we're going to call it right there, the Fans United Experience Legion, because that's what we are. We're a legion of fans. True. It's an experience when you go to these tailgates, and it's an experience when you go to these games. And it's about uniting all of these fan bases together to help support the sport that they love. Doesn't matter if it's football, indoor football, arena football, soccer, whatever. It's about the fans uniting to share their experiences as a legion, because what do they say? We move, if we're a legion, we move as one and whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying to get philosophical and I completely messed it up. But yeah, so I mean, Ball Hog 1 kind of helped us come up with the name Fuel. And that's kind of how we did it. And that's how we kind of branded it so far. It seems to be working.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then as you talk about, fans united, and then the experience, I like how you have been inclusive with this thing to start it off, as far as, you want to have good content, you want to have entertaining content out there. Obviously, you want people to be able to watch your content and enjoy themselves and be interested enough to come back. But you're not, where some other places would be, like, for example, our podcast or video cast that we do online here.
Forget the name podcast. Quit calling yourself a podcast. You're not a podcast anymore. You're a VPod. You're a video cast. You're on a live television network right now as we speak.
There you go. We've graduated.
Podcast. We're gonna destroy that. What was that, RC?
I said yes, we graduated.
Right. We're gonna destroy the word podcast. We're no longer podcast. We're an actual TV network, is what we are. And we are a network of collective shows. Like, one reason why I thought of you guys cover the indoor. What is the Gunslingers playing now? Because you turned me and the hyena into fans of the Gunslingers.
The IFL, and that's where I was going, where, you want that content on there. Yeah.
Right. So when we thought about it, we're looking and we're thinking, and we're like, we want to do the indoor football. We want to do the IFL. First show that came up, the longest running IFL show, possibly the most popular team outside of San Antonio, the Gunslingers. We're like, we got to get smoking guns. That's what they are. Yeah, I mean, is it a plus that you guys talk about the Brahmas? Sure, it's a plus you guys talk about the Brahmas, but it's the gunslinger content. That's what it is, we're bringing different content all from all of these different types of sports, like we have the Derek King show where he's talking about sports in general, baseball, basketball, hockey, all of that. You have the Bottom Line show with Daddy Ed, Brett, and Eric, and they're talking about UFL, NFL, college football, and stuff like that. And then, of course, you got B-Hawk Live. Well, we're talking about just the Battlehawks. And then, of course, you got me and my sidekick Arlington talking the entire UFL.
Who's sidekick? Hold on. I think Arlington would be interested in this part of the conversation.
He might phrase that differently.
Hold on. Let's back that train up. Let's rewind that tape. Arlington is not my sidekick. Arlington is my equal.
Right.
Without Arlington, the Fuel concept would have never been born of us getting a TV network, right? It would have never been born. Arlington is my equal. Arlington stands. When you talk of Fuel, there's two people that are at the top, and that's me and Arlington. The buck stops with us. Now we have the other people like Daddy Ed, who is the CFO, and you have the hyena, who is who's the director of media and public relations. And then we have our chapter presidents, and we're still adding those. We have Marco and Arlington. And then we have the Predator couple in Houston. We have Brett, who's on the Bottom Lines, the president of our Birmingham chapter, So there's people, and everybody, we all work together. And we got to figure out for San Antonio, because I don't know if that job got vacated or not, but I think it might have after, but whatever. Life goes on. I don't care. Business is business. Personal is personal.
So one of the things that I think interesting about this is that you are willing to gather in multiple sports, we have found, and we're not going to call any names. We don't need to make a big deal about this, but we have found recently that some people want to try to set up their own little fiefdom and their own little kingdom and keep everybody else out and be in charge and be on top. You're not doing that. You're
goading me, Phil. You're goading me.
I said we're not going to say names. We're not going to do any of that.
You're goading me, Phil.
What I'm saying is you are bringing in all of those. So this may not be the only IFL podcast. If another one approaches you or you approach another one, you hear one you like, you may invite them. We may not be the only Brahmas outlet. This isn't an opportunity to set up fences and gates and draw lines and boundaries and say, this is ours and stay away and we have this. This is really something where you're trying to unite all of these little fiefdoms that some people are creating and say, hey, we are better when we do this all together. We can do more when we do it together.
Yeah, Phil, it's funny you say that, because if I get another podcast or a video cast from San Antonio that says, hey, we talk about the Gunslingers, I'll say, well, go fly a kite, because I already have that Gunslinger one. I don't know. It depends. If they're as entertaining as you three and they look as good as RC, then maybe I might add them, and Phil will kick you out and add them in your place. But no, you're right. It is about bringing this together. Now, if this would have been 2020, hey, listen, Dirty was a different type of guy. I was out to destroy everybody, right? I was about to destroy everybody. But when the new league came out back in 2023, this was about now uniting stuff. I mean, I caused a lot of division in the St. Louis fan base with the Vipers standing up to P and the Kroenke sucks and, you know, the Cacall and all that stuff. And it's about uniting because, you know, Battlehawk fans think, ooh, we're the end all be all of the XFL. Well, guess what? That league folded. Now they merged because you can't just have one team. You just can't have one group of people that gives you all your news. Now, listen, there's a lot of other guys out there. They all do really good jobs. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say they don't. But it's everybody has their own niche, and everybody has their own content, and everybody has their own appeal to an audience. Mm-hmm. I definitely know I'm not for everybody, but hey, you know, it doesn't matter. That just makes Dirty keep pushing. So yeah, it is about building these communities and bringing these fan bases together. Because look, you know, you guys sit here and you talk about the Gunslingers, right? You guys may have the largest attendance, but if these other teams in the IFL aren't drawing, is that going to help the league keep going?
Right.
No.
So you got to support all of the other IFL teams, regardless if you like them or not. You still got to support them if you want your league to go. It's the same with this. It's the same with anything. These startup leagues. You got to support all of the teams. And that's really what fuel is. It's the fans. We are the fuel behind these teams. And without us, the teams fold. It's that simple.
Yep.
So if you have Roku,
is there room for like an all-female virtual show?
RC, that is being worked on. We are working on that. You know, you see that my director of public relations is telling me to shut up, right? That's her job is to get that going. But, you know, she's kind of been slacking as of late, you know. It's just that simple.
Mom. She's a busy woman.
Dirty, if it's her job, to get you to shut up, man, she's got her work cut out for her. Whatever it is, she's underpaid.
Yeah. Whatever you're paying her, it's not enough.
Give her a raise. Give her a raise.
Yeah.
So you know, if you have Roku, if you have Amazon Fire Stick, download the channel, download the app, connect with some of these shows, watch a show that you don't even, you know, if you don't know who Derek King is, take a minute and watch his show. Mm-hmm. Spend some time with his show. Just turn on the live. There's a live button right at the top where you can watch. If there's a live show going on like we are right now, that shows up there. If there's not, there's other content that runs underneath all of that. Take a few minutes, get connected with a show that you don't know or guys that you don't know so that we can continue to build a community of sports enthusiasts, sports fans.
Well, like here, Phil, you talk about it. So we have it set up in categories. You know, of course, we have on the very top, you have the live, right? Then you have the promos of the shows. And then we have what's called Fuel Presents, where Fuel Presents is going to be special shows. Like we're going to be adding a wrestling show. I'm a huge wrestling fanatic, right? Love wrestling. I've watched it since my days. Daddy Ed's probably going, Jesus, how are we going to spend the money for this? I don't know. I'll figure it out, Daddy Ed. Don't worry. You know, and Fuel is powered by Gateway City Sports. And so we have Gateway City Sports shows on there. We have your guys' is on there. We have the Gridiron Podcast, B-Hawk Live, Bottom Line, and of course the X-Fan Show with much, much more to come. I mean, this is a work in progress. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect right away, but it's going to get there. And it's going to be that premier place where everybody is going to go. What does this say? What does James say there?
Oh, he's asking, will the show be completely moved over to that network or will you still be on Facebook? We'll still be on Facebook. Yep. We'll still be on YouTube. This will just be another outlet, more eyeballs on our show, more people that can find out about the Brahmas, the Gunslingers, San Antonio professional football, and more people that can hear my wonderful voice and my opinion because we all know that everybody wants more of that.
See, like here, the hyena put, she goes, I never saw the show you guys interviewed the new Gunslingers coach. She watched it, loved it. It's up there. It's on there. I put your guys' interview that you did with Hines Ward is on there. You know, so it's stuff like that. This show here, after it airs live, it will be downloaded and put into the replay file to where it will be replayed for the next week so you can watch this show. So, I mean, it's an ever-growing thing. And like I said, there might be a time where you guys decide to do a Fuel special just strictly on the Gunslingers. And then you put it on your page and say, hey, we got extra Gunslinger content. Go to Fuel and watch it. Or you guys might not want to do it live, and it might just be like a special thing. It's going to be things like that. We're going to have little special things for people that are just geared towards the network. But yeah, we're not going to move everybody's, but I don't want to move everybody's shows away from their platforms. It's just another way to make us look more legitimate.
So for years, I was a big sports talk radio guy. I would listen to almost nothing but sports talk radio.
And
it got so, what's a word for it? Corporate? The breaks are really long. The interviews are really short. It just got very corporate, and they were more worried about making money on sports talk, which, hey, that's their business. That's their job. I'm not downplaying ESPN or the Ticket or some of those places out there that do that. They have to make a living. And I get that. This is an opportunity. If you're one of those kind of people that just loves to have something going on in the background, you're a sports fan and you love to connect with sports, and it really doesn't matter what the sports is, that's something that you like to connect with. This would be an opportunity. This would be a place for you to do that. Are we going to be the next ESPN? Hell no. We don't want to be.
No, but hold on, Phil. See, you're cutting yourself. We're cutting ourselves short, Phil. Well, you know what we are going to be, though? We are going to be the next Barstool. We are going to be the next Bleacher Report, right?
Okay.
There you go.
Right. So, like here, let's say you can't get the Roku and the Fire Stick app on your TV, right?
Yeah,
but you can go here.
Yeah.
You can go right here to GatewayCitySports.com, and you see it right there, Fuel Sports Network Live, and look what show it is. Oops.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
What show is that? This is a St. Louis-based website with your guys' show. So, and again, that plays live on Gateway City Sports. So that's another outlet that you guys that people can get our content on. And it's played live 24/7 on there.
I see the word podcasts there.
Yeah, I know. I listen, I have to talk to our business partner over there. Derek's he's still getting to that, video casting thing, like RC used to do the show Talking Moms, right?
Right. Mom to mom
with Gunslinger players. See, like, wouldn't that be a great Fuel Presents Mom Talking Moms?
I'd love it.
Yeah.
It'd be a great special for the show. I mean, it's just like little things like that. Our imagination, the only limits us to what Fuel does is our imagination. And mine's very big. I love SpongeBob imagination. So there's no telling what you'll see on here.
Well, thank you for thinking of us, Dirty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're excited to be a part of it. We have been approached throughout the entire time we've done shows. We've been approached with these kind of ideas. Hey, we should create this thing. Would y'all be a part of it? And we've never said no, but none of them have ever actually happened either.
Sure.
So this is the first time that we've said, sure, we'd be willing to be a part of that. And sure enough, right over my shoulder here, that's happened. It's actually there. It exists.
Yeah.
Happen.
See, that's the thing is I've always told that you will never be able to do this. You'd never be able to do it, Dirty. I mean, look, I know that me and Arlington call ourselves the OG of XFL. I mean, name another show that's been longer than the XFL STL talk show. Name another show that's been longer than the X-Fan show, B-Hawk Live, talking about spring football or talking about the XFL. There isn't one. You can show me one, great. More power to you. Me and Arlington have always said we're often imitated, never duplicated.
When did y'all start your show?
December. Actually, I know the exact date, December 18th, 2018.
Okay, you got it.
Is when we started our first show.
That was when we did our very first show. November of 19. No, November of 18. We do have you beat. We did our very first show in November of 18.
For what?
The Command Post podcast.
That's Charlie's League. We ain't talking about Charlie's League. We're talking about the XFL. We ain't talking about Charlie's League.
Hey, it was a thing, though. It was a
thing, and we were there.
It was. All right, you got me. You got me. And and that's the funny thing that you talk about the Commanders show that you guys did. I'm good. That those shows will be on there. You will be able to see.
No, they won't.
Oh, did you take them down?
No, not us.
They don't exist anymore.
They're not on YouTube?
Nope. You may find a few of them on our Facebook page, but
don't worry, I'll find them. But no.
The server that had all of that audio fried, and we lost our entire first show. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but
yeah, but I mean, it's me and Arlington decided to do this, and we said we're going to be the first. I mean, listen, people may come out after us, and their stuff may be better than ours. That's cool. Use the template that we showed you guys. That's cool. I don't care. But we were here. We started it. And we're trying to bring the fan bases together. So, you never know what's going to happen. We'll see, right?
And I think that's key. I mean, not one team can sustain a whole league. But each fan from each team, we work together. There's strength in numbers. And that's what we have to remember. Doesn't matter where we get the numbers from. It's strength in numbers.
I'm wearing a Memphis Showboat zipper hoodie.
There you go.
Memphis Showboat hat right here. I got the Brahmas flag right here. I got hats galore in my closet from just the XFL. I mean,
yep. Support your league. Yep.
Yeah. Support your league.
Buy something.
Support football.
Right. Buy something. Oh man, my studio's getting tore up now. Buy something from every team. I don't care if it's a keychain, if it's a lanyard or whatever. That little bit helps that team and helps the league grow. And it goes for the Gunslingers. You guys were talking about the store, right? I can tell you this. I'm going to be going to the store and looking and see what's on there.
Do that.
I do the fitted hats though. I do the fitted hats.
Yeah. They got
it's a different look.
The one Leo's wearing is a fitted hat, but I don't think it's in the store either. So
it's the stretch, yeah.
Yeah, see? Now I'd rock Leo's hat.
I got one of those.
Give me more cowboy hats.
So
don't even get me started with cowboy hats.
So fuel is great, but let's change.
Well, hold on, there's one thing I do want to say, Phil, because somebody just popped on. Rig Rocker just popped on, right?
Sure.
This is what shows you. This is what shows you what the fuel community does. But you were talking about bringing it together, right?
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
We're wanting. They were, when the merger started happening, it was going to be the Gamblers, right? It was going to be the Gamblers, the Houston Gamblers. Right. Okay. But yet, the people in Houston, like Rig, the Predator couple, they're like, we got to do something. I'm like, you know what? Let's start a petition. We started the petition. We needed to get to a certain amount of his signatures to get it. We did the fundraiser.
This guy, Los Mysterio, was a big opponent for not changing things.
Right. So we did the petition. We shared it everywhere. We did the fundraiser for the Hawks, the Houston Area Women's Center. Raised money. We raised like $2,800 there on a Titans playoff game. The Titans playoff game. We did a fundraiser, still raised $2,800. But what did we do? The petition and the fans spoke. The Gamblers got rebranded into the Roughnecks. We got to keep the Roughnecks name. And that's because we all united for one cause to show this league, hey, listen, we are here as one. We are a legion. We all support this team. And that's what happened. And that's how the Roughnecks got to keep their name.
That's awesome.
Oh, Texans, my bad. I did love CJ Stroud, though. He should have been MVP, in my opinion.
Those Houston fans don't like the Titans for good reason, but Adams is a terrible human being.
I know I'm going to be getting a phone call after I'm done from Rig yelling at me.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about what brought us together in the first place. Let's talk a little bit about the UFL. What is there to talk about? We're not getting a lot of news. We're seeing some pictures from camp. Camp is going on. We're hoping, Dirty and I had a conversation offline earlier today. We're hoping to get some more media access. One of the things that grouping together like this does is gives us a little more power to connect with the league and with our teams. So we're hoping that we can leverage that into a little more information coming our way. But I find it interesting, and maybe it's not a bad thing. Dirty, Leo, RC, maybe this isn't bad. Last year, as we were running into camp and time, there was a show on ESPN, and there was news everywhere, and there were leaks of news everywhere. And we're seeing kind of the opposite this year, where information isn't leaking out there. There's not a lot of information for us to talk about and bandy about on our show. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they're concentrating on the things that are important, and we're going to have good, solid football starting on March 31st. Is that possible? Is that what we're going to get, Dirty?
Well, maybe they are keeping things a little more closer to the chest, or are they? Are some of the speculations that have been thrown out there having some smoke to fire? I mean, let's really look at it this way. Yes, they are doing a lot better job on getting the information they want out this time, right? I mean, look, I can tell you this. Probably next week we're going to see the reveal of the Under Armour uniforms. Let's hope they're better than last year. Let's really hope they're better than last year, because I saw a USFL jersey up close and personal, and it looked phenomenal. Looked way better than the XFL jerseys. The Memphis one did. So we're supposed to see that, and we're seeing these town halls, and we're pushing these season or the single game tickets that went on sale on April 20th or February 22nd. The news is out there. It's just you got to know where to go get it. You got to look for it, and
you gotta know where to find it.
Right. I mean, but I like the way they're doing it. They're focusing more towards the marketing now. If you noticed, you turn on Fox, what are you seeing now? You're seeing UFL commercials.
Commercials.
Right? You can be watching a baseball game. What are you seeing? You're seeing a UFL commercial. I've seen one on ESPN the other night when it was, I want to say it was whatever their hockey was, right? There was a UFL commercial right there on ESPN.
Yeah. Locally here in San Antonio, there's not a lot of buzz going on for the Brahmas, unfortunately, on the local networks.
Same in St. Louis.
But if you follow the teams on social media, you follow them on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, you follow them on Instagram, you follow those accounts, then you're getting information. And there's also, the media outlets and the people that have their media sites up that follow the league, and there's stuff trickling out there. But I agree with Philip. It could be a lot more to kind of get the hype going in some of these cities, because there's still people that we run into on a daily basis that have absolutely no idea what the UFL is, what the Brahmas are, or any other. I'm sure San Antonio is not the only city like this.
Of course not.
I mean, look.
Well, and let's be honest, they were going to see a drop off in interest when they moved the season away from the NFL season.
But But let's think about this. We kept talking this is spring football, right?
Okay, we've had this argument. You want to have this argument again? Go for it.
You can't start in the winter and be spring football. I understand that it's going to be 200,000 degrees in San Antonio in June, and in May, okay? But let's really look at this. I understand. Let's look at why they did it. Because after football, you look at this merger that happened. You went from all of these players. Now we're getting the cream of the crop. You're even getting the guys that were cut on practice squads, buying spots on these teams. I'd said it before. I guarantee you that it's going to be 90% of these games are going to be decided by one possession or less because of the talent pool that we have now in all of these teams. And I really don't think we're going to see a team below 500. I don't
you think it's going to be that much parity in the league, or everyone's going to have at least a record of 500 or greater?
I really do. I really do. Out of the 8 teams, I will say, and I'm not going to say the teams because I don't know, because we don't know right now. But if anything, we'll have maybe one team under 500, maybe be 4 and 6. But other than that, everybody, I think, will be right on par with each other.
I'm not sure that math works with San Antonio going 10-0. I'm not sure that you can have all of the
That's
other.
True. It's going to be skewed. The number's going to be off.
I'm not sure that's.
We're using dirty math here.
By week 5, with your coach, you guys will be lucky. You'll be 500.
No, we'll be 5-0. That's when things start falling apart for our coach.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to lose the next 5 games because of Wade Phillips.
You're not wrong.
So I'm just saying. But no, I mean, listen, I'm telling you,
I think strong,
these games,
though.
Right. I think these games are going to be way closer than what they were last year. You were talking 76% in the USFL. We're by 1 point or 1 possession or less. The XFL was 82% by 1 possession or less. This year, with the cream of the crop that they have and all of the players they have, I have a feeling that we're going to see this where it's going to 90% of these games are going to be determined by one possession or less because of the merger and the talent pool we have. That's just my opinion. And my opinion is usually right.
So speaking of that talent pool and this parity that you're expecting, Dirty, I got a question for you. It was actually posed by someone who was with us earlier. I don't know if he still is. And I read the question up in the comments previously, but we weren't discussing the UFL yet. And I don't know how to scroll back that far because I'm not as smart as I am good looking. So the question was, how does the UFL there? Someone is much smarter than I am and was able to pull up the exact question that I was going towards. But yeah, I'm curious about UFL player allocation. If Kellen Mond, for example, comes to UFL, who decides where he goes?
Well, I mean, if you go back the way that it says last year, whatever team you were on, they owned your rights, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you could, that's one way to do it, right? Or it could be a free agent signing. I mean, there's a lot of still twists and turns with this new league. I mean, look, we all knew like AJ McCarron was coming back to the Battlehawks. A lot of people wanted him to go to Birmingham. I was one of them because I think it would have been great for Birmingham. I mean, I'm trying to remember who Keelan played for last year. Was it one of the defunct teams?
Maybe.
If I'm not mistaken.
I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
And if it was one of the defunct teams, then that means any team can pick him up. But you're talking by this time next week, we're already going to have to cut players down.
Right.
So what does that do for you?
Right now, yeah.
Right. What does that do for you? So, I mean, it's just too hard to explain. I mean, we still can't figure out the spring football player structure and the way players are designed for what team to go here and what team to go there. You know what I mean? No, we don't know because nobody knows. I don't even think they know. But if he was on a defunct team, then he could go anywhere. If he was on another team like the Birmingham or Memphis or the Roughnecks / Gamblers or Michigan, he's going to go to one of those 4 teams. Or if he was, I don't remember him being on an XFL team, if I'm not mistaken.
No, see, I remember him being with the Colts, but I didn't know where he went after that. According to what I'm finding right now, he was actually he's with the Colts, was his last team, 2023. Before that, he was with Cleveland and Minnesota.
Okay. So with a guy like that, then he can go anywhere. It's who wants to pick him up. It's do you need that type of player? So, I mean, it just really depends. That's what it is. And, I mean, Mike knows. I don't know. Mike would be asking me. Mike knows way more than I do. about this stuff. So yeah, that's how I see it. It's just, if he's not on a defunct team, he can go to any team that he wants to.
Well,
so the player makes that decision. Then he can request which team he wants to be allocated to. Or
well, I mean, listen, AJ requested when he came back that he wanted to go to the Battlehawks.
That's true. Yeah.
But
they owned his rights, didn't he? They own his rights technically because he played for them.
Technically, because he signed with an NFL team and made the practice squad. That means that he lost the rights. The Battlehawks lost their rights.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but he said, I want to go to the Battlehawks. Jamar Chase, the Birmingham quarterback. He's going back to the Stallions. So, I mean, but if you're a player that doesn't have anywhere and there is no salary cap and there is no wire transaction, I would assume they can pick anywhere they want to go. That's what I would think, because that's the way it's set up, it seems.
So, Dirty, I heard a rumor that Jerry Jones-Smith might be going back to the Battlehawks. Have you heard anything about that?
It was just announced that he had re-signed on X today. Dave Bowler standing there with him, and so he's there. So I love it. I love it. Now, another guy I love that's going to be really, really good for us is Jadrian Taylor, right out of the great state of Texas. He's going to be on the Battlehawks. That dude was a beast. You know, yeah. So, yeah, J.J. Smith is back with the Battlehawks, and I can't wait for that one. So that'd be good.
Good dude, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get him on the Battlehawks show. We need to get him on the B-Hawk Live show.
I thought you guys had him on the show at one point, didn't you?
Did we?
Didn't Amanda get to interview him?
No, she tried to, but some political stuff came up and we couldn't get him on the show.
Oh.
Well, that political stuff is over there too, because we had that political stuff plug over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just encourage anybody in the UFL that might happen across this show. I know that you want ESPN and you've got ESPN because you're part of the, they're broadcasting your games. I know you want local sports talk radio stations talking about you. I know you want the big box people covering your sport. I get that. I understand that. I'm not telling you that's wrong, but don't shun the smaller outlets that are just as interested, if not more, in getting your information out there, meeting your players, telling their story, and being a part of all of this. Things like the Fuel Network, Smoking Guns Podcast, B-Hawk Live, all of these. If you're connected to the UFL and you're going, well, that's just a podcast, I have no interest in spending my time. We're not doing this to raise money to make money. We are fans. Fans that are interested in your product, and we want more fans to get interested in your product. Why would you not partner with them?
Well, it's funny you say that, because if you look at it, like, love him or hate him, Howard Stern, when he moved from terrestrial radio to satellite radio, changed the way that the interviewing style went to the long format, right? You get to actually, I mean, some of the best interviews, like I hated Lady Gaga. But I heard her interview on Stern and listened to her play the piano and sing acoustic. I absolutely love her now. I think she's one of the most amazing artists in the world. I mean, you got the guys like Joe Rogan with the long format interviews. It ain't, we got 20 minutes, so we got to diarrhea at the mouth at these guys. You can sit down with shows like this. You can sit down and actually get to know a player.
Yep.
Get to see what a player's about. Get to feel a player. You get to feel that emotion of what the player wants to bring to the city that they do. Like your guys' interview with Hines Ward and was a great interview because it was long form. You got to hear what coach's philosophy was wanting to be about. Your gunslinger interview that you guys did, long form. You got to hear what your coach, after you guys lost Fred Shaw, you guys were freaking out. Oh my God, who are we going to have? And then you got that guy.
Yep.
Right. And I loved him. The dude, I mean, we had Coach DeFlippo on Bottom Line. but it was a long form interview, and you got to hear him, and you're like, Eric had said it. He goes, I'd play for that guy. I'm a Battlehawks fan, but now I'm going to root for the Memphis Showboats just because of Coach DeFlippo.
And the thing is, on these big box radio stations, sports talk radio, they have a 12-minute segment. That's it. That's all the time they've got, because they got a break on this side, they got a break on that side, and they've got to get certain things out of the way. We're not restricted that way. And look, I get it. If you're one of these guys in the UFL media department, you're like, do I want to have 10 podcasts sitting up in my press box, or do I want one ESPN? Why not both? Why not all of the above? Why not hit all of those opportunities instead of locking yourself into just the big box?
Got enough room up there
last year.
Right. I paid enough attention to all of this league, right? And I've watched all of these shows, okay? And I've listened to all of these interviews, right? When you're sitting there and you're listening to these interviews on ESPN and stuff like that, like they just had Coach Beck on just the other day, 12 minutes. It's the same questions we've already heard over and over and over again. So like when we had Coach Beck on the Bottom Line show, instead of asking him UFL questions, we asked Coach Beck, hey, what's it like being Rocco Beck's dad, All-American freshman? What do you think of the college transfer portal? We got to see a totally different side of Coach Beck. When they did the Coach DeFlippo interview, we get to see a different side of Coach Flip. When you guys did your interview with Hines Ward, we get to see a different side of Hines Ward. It wasn't just the typical X and O's as, Coach, what scheme are you going to use? And blah, blah, oh, Coach, what do you think of this player? It wasn't that. It was, you got to see that side of the coach that made you say, ooh, that's my guy. I want to do, that's who I'm rooting for.
Right.
That's what makes this.
You're not going to get on, and RC is great at this, but you're not going to get an ESPN radio interview where they spend 2 or 3 minutes talking about their top 2 songs in their playlist, or what their favorite breakfast taco is. And look, that may sound gimmicky and dumb, but you learn a lot more about a person finding out what their top 2 songs in their Spotify playlist is than you're ever going to find out with the sound bites that you already heard on ESPN radio and on, all of that stuff.
You want a perfect example? Yeah. You want a perfect example of all of this, of what we're talking about? Go back and watch our interview with DJ Myers that we did a month ago.
I was just absolutely fantastic. I was getting ready to bring that. You got shows who's part of Fuel, Player 54, Michael Lathrop, who's part of Fuel. You want to hear a different side of a player? Go listen to his show. You're gonna get a personal feel for what that player is going to be for your team. That's the stuff you don't get with the terrestrial radio. I mean, listen, COVID changed the world. COVID changed the world, right? You have shows like this, where they're like, oh, well, you're just basement dwellers or in the closet, blah, blah, blah. Well, when you have an average reach,
not in my basement or my closet, I'm in my living room.
Right.
Okay?
Yes. I'm in my little corner studio. But when you have a daily reach between 3,500 to 10,000 people day reach on a Facebook page, where you have a monthly reach of close to 200 to 300,000 in a month reach, when you have 14, 15 to 16,000 minutes viewed of your live content, you're doing something right as a group. And that's what Fuel is. That's what we do. And we're not going to be not every show is the same, but you're not going to get the same cookie cutter interview on every different show. You're going to get something different from every show. And that's what makes Fuel so good.
Last time we talked dirty, we did not know what rules they were going to use. Now we do. They're keeping the USFL kickoff rule, which I understand. I don't like the way that Johnson characterized it with the XFL not looking like football. I didn't like the way he He characterized that. But one thing I'm glad they're keeping dirty is the 1, 2, and 3 point extra point system.
I agree. And we've talked to this in length, and Daddy Ed and Amanda and Arlington and Eric and Brett, we've all argued this. And I said, listen, this is good for them to keep more UFL rules. Because what is the ultimate goal? It's to get these guys to the NFL, right?
Right.
And people argue with me all the time. Right?
Maybe or maybe not.
You might have seen our show a couple weeks back where we talked about with Coach Manas that maybe that should not be the highest priority of this league for them to be successful.
Look, I agree. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. If you want this league to survive, you need to keep players.
True.
But what they're paying these guys, you're not really going to keep them. But what we're seeing, and it's like if you go, we just did an interview with Skip Holtz, Daddy Ed, and we're going to have that playing on Monday. You'll see that. Most of these guys are just doing this for the love of the game.
True.
They're getting their heads knocked around for $50,000 a year for that, 20-week period. Now, listen, if I'm that guy that wants to play football, I might take $50,000 for 20 weeks. It's a nice little payday. But I don't have that luxury. But when you're producing these players to get them to the next level, what rules would you want to use that correlate more with the end game, which is the NFL for a lot of these guys? Not saying it needs to be, but that's what a lot of these guys' mindset is that end game of the NFL. What rules would you want to use?
I do find it interesting that the NFL is actually considering moving to an XFL kickoff.
I did
but
too.
The UFL is not considering it at all.
No. I agree. I'm like, wait a second. You don't want to use it in your new league, but now the big daddy of them all is wanting to maybe adopt it. I mean, look, was the XFL kickoff exciting? Yes, right? It was exciting. Was the USFL kickoff exciting? Yes, it was exciting.
Yeah, it was all right. But I didn't have anything against it.
Right. What was the most exciting thing? Was, like you said, Phil, that extra point. The 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I'm glad they kept that. And I'm glad they kind of did a hybrid of certain rules. Like they're keeping the double forward pass. USFL didn't do that. XFL did.
They are going to 2 feet down, which Leo at the time last year when we started talking about 1 foot down or 2 feet down, your whole thing was if their goal is to get to the NFL, they need to be playing NFL style rules.
Right. I agree. Yeah. I never liked the 1 foot down thing. I always liked the 2 feet.
It's fun.
But it made the game exciting, but they didn't really hamper it to really make the game any longer. I mean, you can go to their UFL page, and Daryl Johnson talked about it. Games are still going to be 2:45, 3 hours.
Not a go on my soapbox. I'll tell you why I like 1 foot down in the UFL. Why I would even like the NFL to go to 1 foot down. I would love it, Leo. I would love it, and let me tell you why. I hate the moment when somebody does something incredibly athletic and makes a wonderful, amazing, spectacular catch, and then we got a lawyer ball it away because he didn't get 2 feet, because he tapped a little white here. I would love to see 1 foot down, and let's call it a catch and get it going.
Flip that. I'll one play. And now that I was going to mention it, the name escapes me. The Denver Broncos wide receiver, that foot tap in the side of the end zone on that game against it was mid-season.
You're talking about
Cortland Sutton.
Yes.
Getting both feet down on that play that was shown throughout the week. They did analysis on the percentage of the chance of someone actually having the body control to make that catch. And they were saying it was actually the lowest percentage in the history since they started taking those types of stats. And he makes that catch, gets that foot down, and makes that touchdown pass that was originally called incomplete, and they had to go back and review it. Yes.
So let's get more of those.
Well, yeah, no.
Let's get
that's
more
what I'm saying.
exciting plays like
you got to
That
get
was
both
2
feet.
feet.
No.
That was 2 feet.
We got to both feet down, and that's what makes it spectacular. You're making it easier on them just to get the 1 foot down, and
No,
it's
Leo,
not spectacular
you know why he
anymore.
wants it that way?
They can do stop, dirty. They can do more spectacular things. You can have more of those spectacular moments if you ease the restriction of 2 feet down. You
It's
absolutely
less
can.
spectacular.
No,
They get
it's
paid
less
a lot.
spectacular. You're
2
making it
feet.
easier,
2 feet.
so it's not
RC.
as impressive.
no.
It's
Listen,
not as
you know why
impressive
he's
anymore.
saying that, Leo? Because his team hasn't won anything since '95.
Oh,
What are we doing
there
here?
we go.
What are we doing here? We're not bringing that up. We're not going
That's all.
there.
I'm just saying, 95.
Hey,
That's it.
At least I've still got a team. All right.
Hey, I still have a team.
Oh.
They're just in Chicago, getting ready
Ouch.
to move to Arlington Heights. We need a
Ouch.
quarterback.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, we do. He's bad.
No, I would be okay if football went to 1 foot all the way around. I'd be okay with it. I think it's great.
No.
I understand where you're coming from. I really do. I just like more spectacular. I like more things to watch. I like more fun.
I'll say this. They need to do something with this whole pass catch thing. They need to figure out something
as far as control and
controlling of these passes and controlling of these catches. They need to do something about that. That's what they need to do.
So I am always a fan. I am always a fan of more objective rules and taking the subjectivity out of officials' hands. I'm a big fan of that. But when it comes down to what is a catch and what is not, I almost wish we would just let officials determine, yes, that looks like a catch to me. No, that doesn't look like a catch to me.
And I would be okay with that.
I realize that's really subjective, and there's going to be times that pisses me off as a fan. And I'm like, no, that was clearly a catch. And they're going to say no, that it wasn't a catch. But they have tried so hard to define what a catch is that they have made a mess of it.
I remember this too much to it. Hold on, put that comment up. I remember that. I remember that. That was a catch.
It was.
That was a catch.
He caught
it.
He caught it.
Yep.
That was a catch.
They've added too much to it. They talk about making a football move, and there's more to the catch than a catch, and that's the problem. But getting the 2 feet down, that's separate. That's body control. That's playing within the boundaries of the football field. What you want to do, Philip, so you have more spectacularness, even though you're making it easier. I liken that to let's lower the goals in the NBA so we can have more dunks and the shorter guys can get dunks too. That'll be more exciting. No, that's hogwash.
I'll say this. Like when you're doing those sideline catches, right? And the guy is barely able to get that second foot, and then he gets shoved out of bounds. He's got complete control. He's got 1 foot already in. The other foot is dragging, getting ready to drag, and then the guy shoves him out of bounds. See, like that, I think they should somehow change that type of thing.
Bertie, they used to have that. There used to be a rule where if you caught the ball but you got forced out of bounds before you could get feet down, they would give you the possession there.
They need to bring it back.
I'm glad they got rid of that.
No,
why do I as the defensive player get penalized because you would have gotten your feet down if I didn't
learn how to
do my
tackle.
job?
Learn how to tackle.
Nah, forget that. I love that they got rid of that. No, now, I'm a big fan of that.
Here's the one good thing about this new league. We're talking about the rules and all of that, right?
Sure.
So here's the question. We had Dean Blandino for the XFL. And we had what was his name? Mike
Pereira
for the USFL.
Yep.
So do you bring both of those guys in?
I don't see why not.
To go over the rules. See how exciting that is? You got both of these guys. They're looking at these games, and we're going to get 2 different views of them. So like you have Blandino doing one game and you have Pereira doing another game. And then, so it's going to be a completely different look for these games. So that's going to be kind of exciting there, is that they're going to keep that type of replay because both leagues kind of use that replay system. And so they're going to get to keep that. But now who is it they bring in? Are they bringing Dean back, or are they bringing Mike back? I don't know. I haven't seen that yet. So that's the major important thing. Keeping that kind of replay system, which I think the XFL and the USFL had great replay systems. So I like that they're going to keep that in place. So that's a good thing there.
Even the AAF did that back in 2019, and I don't understand why the NFL hasn't jumped onto that.
Right. I don't either. Makes no sense.
I don't get what they're waiting on.
No, because it's a good old boys club.
Sure. Yeah,
good old boys club.
That's the only answer. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I do like that they're keeping the replay system the way it is. Now, the one thing I could be okay with losing, the drone. The drone. Get rid of the drone.
Talking about the
drone.
Talking about the
drone that
camera?
the USFL had. The drone that the USFL had flying around the stadium. Get rid of that damn thing. Keep the X cam. You know, I like that, but get rid of the drone. Get rid of the drone that they used in the USFL. Get rid of it.
James Palmer asks, isn't pass interference in the new league 15 yards if less than the spot foul, unless it's something crazy obvious? Here's another thing that I would love to see happen in professional football.
Yes, the kickoff drone.
I need a 2-tiered pass interference level. Remember how we used to have 2 tiers for face mask? You got a 5-yard variety if it was just incidental, and then you had a 15-yard personal foul if it was egregious. Yes. I need that on pass interference. I need a pass interference foul that is 10 yards and a first down if it was not egregious, and a spot foul if you egregiously interfered with. I need that.
I like that. Yeah. I like that.
I like that. Now, what James Palmer's saying here, there is that type of rule in there, but it's kind of like Daddy Ed said, where Dean Blandino lives in a gray area. This new pass interference rule is kind of in a gray area. I don't think that, because if you really look at that, that's kind of a 2-tiered system for pass interference.
It is.
I don't think it'll really work. So I have a feeling we're just going to be seeing 15-yard pass interference plays. I don't think we'll see, less than the 15 yards like it kind of states in the rule book.
The other thing I need in professional and college football, I need this in football all across every level. We need to define what a catchable ball is.
Well, yeah.
And if the ball is thrown short and your receiver has to stop to get to the ball, and the defender runs into him, that's not pass interference, because it wasn't a catchable ball.
I agree. I agree.
Between you and the ball, that's not catchable anymore.
See, here's the one thing I'll say. Right, here's the one thing I'll say about these two leagues. We didn't really see a lot of pass interference calls in the XFL. We didn't see a lot of pass interference called in the USFL. The one thing we saw them, but they weren't nowhere near what they are in the NFL, right?
No,
nowhere near that.
I can remember some very clear non-pass interference calls in that last Brahmas DC game that we witnessed here in San Antonio.
Right, that they just let go. The one thing I think they need to fix is the holding calls. Because, once they say the arm is straight out, that's a hold, right? But you get a guy like, I'll use Jadrian Taylor, because you guys know who Jadrian Taylor is, right?
Yeah.
Kid that plays from Texas, all that stuff, right? That kid is so quick, it's not even funny. Like, can you imagine if you're an end or if you're a tackle trying to get that kid, and how fast he comes across, your arm's automatically going to be stretched out from that kid. So he's gonna get hit with a holding call every single time. So there's got to be some kind of that they really need to work on, is what is a holding call, what constitutes as a holding call, and stuff like that. Because you got some of these guys that are just, look, like PETA, the defensive player of the year for the Battlehawks or for the Vegas Vipers. You imagine how fast that guy's coming in and you're trying to stop him. So, I mean, that's another thing I think they need to look at is what is considered a holding call and what is considered not a holding call.
Well, and I would love
Let's
for
hope they do
football,
that.
or I would love for football around the, across every level to put a little more subjectivity in holding calls. And if it affects the play, you call a penalty. But if it is on the opposite, if I'm running a jet sweep to this side and on this side an offensive lineman held, I'm not throwing that flag.
It has nothing to do with the play. It's on the opposite, completely opposite side of the field. It has nothing to do with it. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm saying. Like, do some kind of system there. It's just,
but that's really hard. Because once you start injecting subjectivity into some of this, you're going to get fans that go, why are they not calling that holding? Well, they didn't think it would affect the play, but it would have. And so then you have this whole argument blow up. And
even worse than that is the ineligible man downfield. That doesn't affect the play when he's just doing his job, trying to block somebody. But then the quarterback has to not audible, but change the play behind him, and he has no idea. So now he's not where he should be because the play has changed, and you get a flag thrown against you. That happens all the time, and it drives me nuts.
Well, and you say that, Phil, Leo, but we didn't really see that a whole lot in the XFL or the USFL. Was the ineligible receiver or ineligible player down the field? Because I think with the XFL and the USFL, the rules kind of like what you were saying, Phil, were a little more subjective. They were a little more subjective because there wasn't as many flags in those two leagues compared to the NFL. What I'm hoping is that they stick to that. Let's be a little more subjective on these plays. Let's let the referees be more in charge.
I will tell you, I noticed it first in the AAF and then I noticed it in the XFL, both in 2020 and in XFL 3.0, and a little bit in the USFL, not as much. And now I've started noticing this in the NFL. The outside offensive linemen get about a second's worth of grace on false starts. If they jerk up and it's all in one motion, if they stop, they're going to get called. But if they'll just commit to the motion, even if they're a second before the snap, they don't get called anymore.
I noticed that too. So, look, here's what I can say, and Riggs said it earlier. We are now literally 30 days away. 30 days away from spring football. 30 days. We are just 30 days away to see who is actually the real champ of spring football. The Renegades or the Birmingham
You had
Stallions?
it right. No, you said it right. The Brahmas.
Renegades are the Birmingham Stallions, right? Now, look, maybe you guys can move up a little more, but you guys are in a hard conference. You guys got to remember, though, you guys didn't do very good against the North.
But what do you mean, you guys? What do you mean,
the Brahmas?
You're
didn't do very good.
You're talking about the Roughnecks, right?
No, these two right here.
Roughnecks last year.
You guys didn't do very good against these two teams.
How did the Houston Roughnecks do?
Yeah, because I think there's more Roughnecks players on the roster right now than there were Brahmas players.
That is true.
Last year.
But I think the Roughnecks didn't beat this team or this team.
That's
did they?
True.
One of the most amazingly interesting things about last year's XFL season was how Houston lost to Arlington in the playoffs. Like, I still don't really get it.
I mean, let's really look at it. That's because they got probably the smartest spring football quarterback that's ever played the game of spring football in Luis Perez.
That's true. And he's coming back, isn't he?
And paired him with a coach that knows how to win.
Exactly.
With a coach that knows how to win.
Look, you can hate Luis all you want, but you can't deny what the man has done in spring football.
Dirty. I want to tell you something right now because I don't know if you know this.
Okay. I was going to tell the same story.
Somebody sitting here right now in these four squares told everybody that Luis Perez was going to be a great spring football quarterback before anybody even knew who he was or knew his name.
Back in November of 2018, there is one of these four people sitting right here that said the most interesting quarterback coming into the AFL quarterback draft to him was Luis Perez. And that person is this guy right here.
I was going to have to
That's
say,
right.
it had to be the guy
Leo
above
had
me.
it called from the beginning. He said Luis Perez is somebody I am very interested in watching his career. And we have watched it all the way through the AFL. I'm sorry,
AF.
the AF, the XFL2, XFL3, and on into the UFL.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. Yeah, he got when he got drafted, when he got into the new league, right? In 2.0, or is it 3.0? I can't even remember now. Is it 3.0?
No, he was in 2.0. He was out in LA.
Right, yeah. So yeah,
3.0.
3.0. He went to Vegas. Nothing against Rod Woodson. I met him in Vegas. Nice, super nice guy. But Rod Woodson didn't know how to use a quarterback like that.
He's not a good mesh.
No, he did not know how to use a good quarterback like that. But you know who did? That guy right there did. That guy right there did. You look at Luis Perez's stats since he started in spring football. And you go back to, like you guys said, the Charlie League day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or then you go to XFL 2.0. And then you go to XFL 3.0. Luis Perez has the most passing yards than any quarterback in these 8 teams. He beat the NFL or the XFL Player of the Year, Jordan Ta'amu.
Mm-hmm.
He almost beat the one who everybody said is the uncrowned, MVP and AJ McCarron. I mean, Luis Perez is he's a great quarterback, and he all learned it from watching YouTube.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
Was he a bowler originally?
Yeah, he was a bowler.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's an amazing
Athlete.
player. An amazing player. And possibly, because we had Jordan on the show right after the championship game, and we asked him about Luis. He goes, he is my kryptonite. I am his Peyton Manning. He's my Tom Brady, and I'm his Peyton Manning. Because Jordan Ta'amu hadn't beaten him. Hasn't beaten him at all in spring football. Right. He goes, I'm his Peyton Manning. He's my Tom Brady. So when you have a guy like that saying, that's my Tom Brady, what does that tell you?
Yep. He's a great athlete.
What does that tell you about a guy?
The GOAT.
Yeah.
I mean, and Leo called it from the very start, from the very beginning of this whole thing.
I said, look out for that guy. And he was the first. He was the first quarterback taken in in Charlie's league.
Yep.
Let's see what you remember, Leo. Who did he play for in Charlie's league?
The Iron, Birmingham Iron.
Yep. Birmingham Iron. That's great.
And led the league there in passing.
On a run-first offense.
Right.
On a run-first offense.
Yeah. On a run-first offense, he still led the league.
Yep.
What does that tell you about the guy? Now, somebody up here said, Dirty, who are you going with, right? Listen, I'm a Battlehawks fan here in I'm out of St. Louis. I'm a Battlehawks fan, of course. But listen, I'm a realist, okay? It's way too early to call these teams. I mean, look, if you go by what has happened over the last 3 years with this league, then there is no other team better than that one right there, than the Birmingham Stallions. No other team better than that. With DC being number 2. Okay? I mean, look, it's too early to go. I mean, listen, you look at the roster, the Battlehawks are set. AJ McCarron, you have the deepest wide receiver core there is. But these guys could still get cut. They may not gel very well. We saw it in, prime example, we saw it in Seattle last year with DiNucci, who had Josh Gordon and Jay Peasy. Look how long it took them to gel. You got to realize, these guys are only getting 4 weeks to start practicing with each other.
Yep.
Not enough time.
They got 10 weeks to play. These first 2 weeks are going to be very, very important for this league and these teams. You know what I'm saying? Oh, God, he irritates me. All right, nerd, I'll call you. But you got to look at this. Those first 2 weeks of this league is going to be very, very important on how this whole league sets up. So for me to say, who am I going to go with? Of course, I'm going to say the Battlehawks. But as realistic, if I have to go now, that's the team to beat right there, is Birmingham. hands down.
Well, we'll find out opening night.
Yeah, we will.
Right.
So yeah,
well, that seems like as good a place as any to start wrapping this thing up. You've been listening to the Smoking Guns podcast. We are excited, thankful to have a great group of patrons that support our show. Folks like Texas Pete, Alfred Rodriguez, James Palmer, Jay Washington, Jordan Stubing, James Stubing, Kim and Greg Nelson, Mo and Iris Ferrante. All of them make sure that we have the ability to make the show go. If you're interested in being a part of that group, you can log on to patreon.com/Smoking Guns Pod. That's smoking, no G, guns with a Z, POD. And you can support the show at a $5, a $10, or a $20 level. What do you get back for that? You get this show. Like, we put this show together, and when we have opportunities, we pour back into our community. We have helped with cheerleading camps. We have helped with football camps, and you get special surprises. All of our patrons are waiting on their new Smoking Guns podcast fan jerseys that are coming to them absolutely free. Like, we took care of that for them because they helped us support the show.
Have we got a timeline on those yet? Someone asked me. So since you're bringing it up,
not yet.
Do we have an idea when those are coming in? Okay.
They're coming over from China so soon, and before the season, but that's all we know.
So Phil, before we really wrap this up, it's funny that you say that, what you guys do. And another thing about Fuel, RC kind of gave us the idea of this when me and the Hyena and Dave were in for the first game in San Antonio, where RC was going around doing a canned good drive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Fuel, we did the charity event for Autism Speaks. We did the charity event in Houston for the Hawks, the Houston area women's shelter. So, there's a championship game coming June 16th. I don't know where it's going to be.
Yeah, we know.
I mean, I don't know. But June 15th, we're doing another fundraiser to help Ricky Prohl's foundation. But also March 14th, if you're in St. Louis, Battlehawks are doing their town hall at Ballpark Village. And Daddy Ed has decided he wants to do a Fill the Shelf. We have Fill the Dome here in St. Louis. Well, now we're going to do the Fill the Shelf, where we want to collect slightly used books from the ages of 4 to 8 for these kids in these inner city schools whose libraries don't have enough books. We want to do that, where we're doing a book drive for that. We're going to do that all the way up to opening day, or the first kickoff here in St. Louis on April 6th. So we're going to be doing the book drive. And so on March 14th, come to the town hall. If you're in St. Louis, from 5:30 to 8 at Ballpark Village, find myself, Daddy Ed. We'll be in our Fuel shirts. If you got books, give them to us. We're going to have a flyer with the QR code on it to where you can donate if you're outside of St. Louis and you want to donate money to help us go buy books for these kids. That's what we're going to do. And I'm just going to say it now. I have a feeling, I want to talk to the Fuel board, but I have a feeling maybe next year's charity, because we're going to try to do 2 a year. I think next year's charity might be in San Antonio. I don't know yet. I'll have to find out. I'm probably going to get in trouble because I'm just opening my mouth like I always do. But I think San Antonio might be another place to do a great charity over there. So maybe we might do that. So, RC,
count on us.
Yeah, you're the reason why we decided to do the. You're one of the reasons why we decided to do the whole collecting stuff at tailgates this year.
Oh, well,
you were one of the main reasons behind that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I got.
It is a great place. It is a great place for great charity work, for building a community, and it's a great place for football, because when it comes to professional football, whether that's the 50-yard fight or the 100-yard variety, the UFL, the IFL, the EIO, the whatever, the entire alphabet, whether it's played up in Seattle, oops, that doesn't happen anymore, over in St. Louis, down in Jacksonville, no matter where it's played, when it comes to football, professional football, the 210 has got something to say.
Bang, bang.
Wow. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say St. Louis's tagline. Down the Fuel. Fuel Sports Network, Roku, Fire Stick. Go download the channel. I'll say that.
Yes, do that.
All right. Thanks, folks, for hanging out with us. All of
thanks.
people that have
Thank
been hanging out
you.
with us throughout
Miss
the night.
y'all.
Gertie, thanks for inviting us to be a part of Fuel, and then thanks for coming on and giving us free content. We appreciate that.
Thank you guys for joining. It's an honor and it's a privilege. Thank you guys for joining the Fuel community family.
And we're having a
We're happy to be a part of it.
Alamo Beer for the Brahma Mamas this Sunday, 12 o'clock, Alamo Beer on Lamar. Just trying to get together, get our purpose, get our goals, what we're going to do to give back to the community, females in football.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll talk to all of you folks watch it in later.
Thanks, guys.